Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Captain's Log. I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault here today, and we're going to talk about a new upcoming monthly series I'm going to be doing, as well as some projects coming out from Guerrilla Games regarding Horizon, the Horizon series, and what's on the plate for 2023 or the next 2 months, at least the first two games on it. So let's get started with that. First off, on January 27th, just a few weeks away, we are going to see the remake of Dead Space hit the ground running. That's coming out from EA Games, and this is a remake of the classic games from, I think it was Visceral Games made it back in the day. That kind of defined survival horror, especially in outer space. And if you played or saw anything about Callisto Protocol, you'll know that game wore the Dead Space influence on its sleeve big time. It was just it was from Glenn Schofield, who was one of the creators of the original Dead Space, and it really called back to the DNA of that game. Not as good as the original Dead Space, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. It was still a fun game, and it's only gotten better with some of the patches going out. There is some DLC coming out for that, so I'm looking forward to that. But back on to Dead Space, we will be doing a full series on that as we do a playthrough and bring Isaac back to the Ishimura and get to see what's been going on there and what all the changes are. It's supposed to be some amazing differences in it as far as no more loading screens. It's going to be a little more open. You're going to be able to traverse between one area to the other instead of having to necessarily get on a tram and stuff like that all the time to hide the loading spaces. Everything's been reworked, and they say there's like a random encounter generator or something like that, so I don't think any two playthroughs will be the same, and it sounds like it's going to be an exciting game, terrifying if it's anything like the original, and I'm hoping for the best because Dead Space has always been one of my favorite games since the first time I played it. Now, just a couple of short weeks after Dead Space is released, and I'm imagining Dead Space is going to be a fairly short game like the original. I think it was somewhere between 5 and 10 hours, roughly. I don't remember exactly, but we're going to see a big game come out, and that is Hogwarts Legacy. This is coming out from Avalanche Software, published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, and this looks huge. It's set 100 years before the events in the Harry Potter series of books, and it's just this huge game. You're going to be able to explore the entire Hogwarts school. It's open world. There's a ton of stuff to do. You get to choose which school school you're going to join up there, whether it be the Slytherin or whatever, and it looks amazing. It absolutely looks amazing. A lot of custom character customization. Let's get that right. And just it looks like it's packed full of fun stuff to do. I've seen some footage of it. Players traversing on foot, on their broom, and on the back of a hippogriff, which is pretty sweet. There is no Quidditch in the game, from what I understand, much to the chagrin of many big fans of Harry Potter. I am not one of those people. I am not a big fan of Harry Potter, to be honest with you. I've watched the movies, and they're entertaining and they're fun. I'm not against it by any means. It just wasn't, I was a little too old for it when it came out, so I don't have that nostalgia factor that many people younger than me who are gaming to this day, adults, will have for it. But it just looks like it's going to be fantastic, and I can't wait to see it. So that's going to take some time, but by then we should be cleared up of pretty much all the other big stuff going on, including Dead Space. I believe by then, I think Dead Space will be a busy weekend of filming to get through the game the first time through, at least. I don't know if it's going to release with New Game Plus on the start or anything like that, but we should get through that one fairly rapidly and then be able to sit back and chew on Hogwarts Legacy for a while and really take a look at this game and see the different things you can do with it. So that's going to be fantastic. Now, another thing I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to do this once a month, is going to be in 2023. We're going to have a indie, like an indie game look once a month. I've already got a couple games planned out to get started. I don't know if you guys saw my trophy guide for What Remains of Edith Finch, but we're going to do, these are just going to be walkthroughs, maybe reviews too, maybe trophy guides, depending on what I can do with these different games. But the first one is definitely going to be What Remains of Edith Finch, and the one after that is going to be Deliver Us the Moon. Now, if you guys are aware, there is a sequel to that, Deliver Us Mars, coming out sometime in 2023. So I thought it'd be a good time to visit that game and see what it's all about. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I've heard a lot of mediocre things about it. And, it just kind of looks like one of those games that, again, I could tackle it within 1 or 2 nights and get through it and then determine, whether or not I liked it. But the premise is interesting, as you are like an astronaut sent to the moon to go to this abandoned colony that they've lost contact with, to somehow restore power to a machine up there to bring power back to Earth, and Earth is suffering these catastrophic storms due to a lack of resources, and there's some kind of climate change narrative and all that kind of stuff in there. But I mean, the game itself looks pretty eerie and pretty cool. It's got a horror vibe to it, but I understand it's not a horror game. I think it's just that isolated feeling that's going to give it that kind of horror feel to it. So those are going to be the first two. And if you have any other recommendations of indie games you'd like to see me cover, and I'm not talking big ones, I'm only going to do smaller indie games. I don't want to do anything huge with this series, just something I can knock out in a single weekend, or over a couple nights during the week, so I can continue with my regular programming of No Man's Sky. And I know Hogwarts is probably going to take up a good portion of 2023, but if you have any recommendations, leave them down in the comments and let me know, and I'll see if I have access to those games here on the PlayStation, and or if I don't and it looks like it's worthwhile, I'll buy it and give it a try, and we'll check it out together. So next up, as you can see, we're showing some footage of me just screwing around in Horizon Forbidden West. But we've got 2 major things coming up for the Horizon series this year. First is Call of the Wild, which is the Horizon games for the PSVR, the virtual reality set that's coming out in February. I think it's February 22nd, a couple days after my birthday. So I'll be getting that for my birthday, at least for myself, if I can get it, right away. I'll have to see. Availability, I don't think we're going to have a problem with availability on it, to be honest with you. It looks like the PlayStation 5 availability has been fixed, so I don't see the VR having that much trouble, especially considering the price of it. It is a little on the expensive side, and that makes me hesitant to do it, but I want to do it. I want to see what it's all about. I want to be able to experience this world, this Horizon world in virtual reality. It sounds like it would be pretty insane. But so that's one thing that's coming out from Horizon. And then later on in the year, and I think it's April or May, maybe a little later, I don't remember exactly, but we're going to get the Burning Shores DLC for Horizon Forbidden West. Now, if you guys played Horizon Zero Dawn, you'll know we got the Frozen Wilds DLC for that, and it was a pretty substantial DLC, and it introduced a few new creatures and some cool new things that you could do. The setting was, further up north in this big cold area. Everything was covered with snow and ice and all that. It highlighted a tribe that was only lightly looked at in the base game of Horizon Zero Dawn, so it did bring a lot of new stuff to the table, and it was a worthwhile DLC, and I'm definitely looking forward to that, and we will be jumping on that on launch day to check it out and see what's going on. I think I got 2 save files on Horizon Forbidden West. One of them is this New Game Plus one I'm just screwing around with right here, and I think I've got the basic one as well. I don't remember, but we'll probably go back to the basic one to try out the Burning Shores DLC. I'm not sure if it's going to be something that takes place after the main story, or will it take place during the main story. I think if memory serves, the Frozen Wilds took place during the main story. So if you played through the main story and then played that later, it kind of felt weird with some of the dialogue, and some of the things that were going on referred to stuff that you had already resolved as a player. So it is what it is, but we'll see what it's all about. I am looking forward to it, and that should be a great time. So last but not least, February 4th is going to be our 1-year anniversary here with the Game Vault. I put out my first video back on February 4th, 2022. It was a Dying Light video. That was the day Dying Light 2 came out, and I did a ton of work on that game. My original videos were just absolutely horrible, low quality, bad resolution. It was a mess. And this has been a learning process as I've gone along. And videos I do today, I believe, are better than ones I did 3 months ago, let alone a year ago. But I'd like to have y'all around to celebrate that birthday and invite some friends to join the channel. We are currently sitting at about 417 subscribers. I'm looking to get to 500, but ultimately the goal is 1,000 for 2023, and I can't do it without your help. I would appreciate any exposure you get. Refer me to another friend, someone that likes these kind of games, whatever. It's greatly appreciated. Yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up this Captain's Log then. Thanks for joining me, everyone. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. I will see you next time. Until then, peace, and I hope you all have a happy and prosperous 2023.